Hello, assalamu alaikum. Okay, in this second FAQ, we'll try to understand where and how to use constraint because we have many constraint types in P6. So, where and how effectively we can use these constraints. Okay, so we'll try to understand with some example. Okay, first of all, we will try to understand the constraint type. Okay, let's see what are the constraint types in P6. So if we will go to here of any task, for example, I'm here pour mass concrete, any task. If I'll go here, status, you can see the primary constraint and secondary constraint. We'll discuss about all these things. So the constraint here, as late as possible, we'll discuss last for this item. You see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the main constraint, and some are hard constraint and some are soft constraint. So start on, finish on, mandatory start, mandatory finish are hard constraint, and the soft constraint are start on or after, start on or before, finish on or after, finish on or before. These are the soft constraint. This is not actually constraint, but um we will see the impact of this constraint. Okay, if you will select here any hard constraint, you cannot select any secondary constraint. As it is hard constraint, that means there is no flexibility to set the dates between the ranges. Okay, but for the sub constraint, for example, if you will start here, start on or after, then you have another window. Okay, if it is start on or after, then when it will be finished on or before, and start on or before. If it is after here, and you will see all the options here with before. That means you can start on or after 2nd August and start on or before maybe 10 August, 11 August, something like this. So by this way, you may fix a range to start the activity. Okay, and also you may put two things, one for the start and one for the finish together. So this activity will be started on or after 8 August, but when it should be finished, so finish on or before probably 15 August, 16 August, something like this. So you may put here, and it will be tied to that task as well. Okay, so okay, and as soon as this date will finish on or before, if this date will miss, if you'll set the date here, if it will miss, you will see negative float. Okay, okay, so we'll see one by one. And another thing is, if I will set here before, and then you will see only these two option with after. Okay, so start on or after, and then finish on or before, probably 8. So if I will put here 2 days. So secondary constraint is one thing. You see here the negative total float is 2 days because it missed the deadline. Okay, whatever the constraint I have put here, so instead of 8 it is showing now 10 August because of the duration I have put 2 days. If I'll put 1 days, You'll see -1 because it should be started 8 and finished 8 August. But it is not showing like this. Okay. So if I put here none, okay, all the constant will be removed, and you see here the float. So 8 August and 8 August. Okay, probably okay, start on or after it was 8 and finish on or before if it is finish date. Okay, so if I'll put like this, you'll see the float is 0 because whatever the date here is showing, I have put exactly as a constraint. So there is no float here. So if I will delay 1 day, means if I said that it will require 2 days, you'll see 1 day float. If I'll set 3 day, you'll see 2 days float. Because whatever the duration I am increasing here, it is hitting the secondary constraint. That means the finish date. Okay, so based on the constraint, you may see some negative float. Okay, and you have to correct it before finalizing your updates, the constraint as well. Okay, I'm putting here none, right? And reschedule. Okay, pour concrete. Okay. Okay, I'm going to slide again. So, okay, these are the constraint in P6 that you may use. What I have said that if you'll put here before and then you will find here the two dates with after, and same for the after. If you will set here the start on or after, before on or after, you will find finish on or before and start on or before in the secondary constraint box, and then you can set as per your information. So these are the constraint that you can set, but the question is where you can set the constraint. What are the use of this constraint? So now we'll try to understand the milestone type and constraint, contractual or internal, because um, there are some contract. In the contract, you will find some intermediate milestone rather than the full project completion. Probably they need phase delivery, so they will put contractual completion date for each of the phases, and you have to respect all the contractual milestone if you want to deliver your project without getting any liquidity damages. Okay, so you have to respect the contractual milestone. However, your internal team may put some internal milestone that is not contractually binded, but to track the progress of some deliverables internally you may put some milestone. So these are the milestone, two milestone type. One is contractual, another is internal or to track some critical delivery. Okay, so we'll see here in the subcontractor particulars part, there are 9 milestone is mentioned in the contract and with dates. Okay, and what are this contract milestone is mentioned in appendix 6 in the contract. So we have to complete all of these tasks or all of this milestone within this date. So for milestone 1 we have this deadline, so meaning that we have to follow this milestone whatever the project completion date. That is also important, and in parallel these milestones are also important because all of the milestones are linked to the liquidity damages. If we will miss one milestone, there will be a penalty from client side. So we cannot avoid this milestone date. Okay. So these are not internal milestone. We call it contractual milestone. And for some internal milestone, probably for this two-story building. You see here the foundation completion. Okay, when the foundation will be completed, rather than going to the task level, in the key milestone WB, under the key milestone WBS, we can easily find when the foundation will be completed, when the structure will be completed, when masonry work will be completed, and when the fittings and fixtures will be completed. Okay, installation of fittings and fixture. So in this way we can track the key deliverables of the project. Okay, so these are not the contractual milestone, but these are some internal milestone to track key points of the project. Okay, or key deliverables of the project. So what we will do with the contractual milestone, because this milestone is just to track, there is no constraint required for here if it is not set by the organization. But for contractual milestone, you have to log this date so that any impact on this date should be reflected in the in the schedule as a negative impact, so that you will be aware. Okay. For example, okay, this schedule, whatever the items here mentioned is reflected in this schedule. You see here, all the areas are on the critical path, but in reality, it should not be. Okay, because critical path is with some limited task, not all the areas will be on the critical path. Why? Because you see the dates here, that the date we have observed in the contract is the same date. And you see here the star marks means you have put the constraint here, finish on or before. So all these area milestone should be finished on or before this date, and this is driving the area to be on the critical path. Okay, but in reality, I mean, the real critical path is only the I-15. You see here the longest is the I-15, and then we will do some ancillary work, demobilize, site cleaning, and done. So this is the final and the true critical path. But why the critical path here is showing with all the areas? Because of the milestone constraint we have put here, finish on or before. So that means the date is locked. The, the schedule is not calculating any float after this date because this is locked. Okay. So in this way we can use the constraint to log this date, so that we can see the impacts on the milestone clearly while updating the schedule. Okay, and then the question is, when this milestone will be used. Okay, because we have relationships between tasks, so why we have to put milestone? As I said in the first FAQ, that probably no, probably in this FAQ I have explained. No, in the last FAQ, yeah. You remember that I was discussing about the float and the gap between the late curve and early curve. So at that time, I have mentioned that probably you will get some task that is not related to any other task, totally independent task. So and you don't want to link with another task. You just want to put that task in a schedule with start and finish date. So how you will put the start and finish date? Probably your data date is 1st of January and you want to put the task to be started from 1st of March. So you have to use this constant start on or after 1st of March, and the task will be shifted to the 1st of March. Okay, because of this constraint that you have said. Okay, similarly for the finish as well, if you think that one task should not be finished on or before this date, you can put that constraint as well. And also for the hard constraint, if you think it should be finished on or it should be started on that date, there is no consideration, then you can put finish on or start on and it will be locked as a fixed date. It will not respect any relationship, because if you will put start on or before, it will respect the relationship after that date. Okay, for example, I'm going to here. So if I'll set here the river fabrication that is linked to the task, is, for example, river installation. If I will set here, it should be start on or after 18. Okay, and the schedule, you see it is shifted to 18, and there is a float generated here. Okay, so it will be started from 18 August, right? And what will happen after that 18 August? Because now it is not respecting relationship, it is respecting only the constraint. But if I will put here the duration for the river fabrication is more and will impact the start date after 18, what will happen if I'll put here instead of 7, put here 14, you will see it will respect the relationship. See here, the date is now not 18, it is 22. Though I have said the constraint here, but it is not respecting because of the relationship. That means as the predecessor river fabrication is finishing on 21, it will be started from 22 instead of the constraint that I have said. Okay, if and it is here, you see not showing any negative float because it is soft constraint. But if I will put here start on 18, you will see the difference. You will see 4 days float, negative float, because this is hard constant. Okay, it should not be moved from here. That means it is indicating that I have to revise the schedule as it is with negative float. Either I have to put the different constant date, or I have to reduce some duration from the predecessor task to match with this date. Okay, and then another thing is mass start. If I will put here the mass start or mandatory start, what will happen? You see the task will not move from here. That means this is mandatory start. It is not recommended to use in your schedule. Okay, this will totally break the integrity of your schedule, and even you cannot find the impact from that schedule as well. You see here, you cannot see any negative float. That means you cannot see the problems of this task. It is still showing from 18 August and finishing on 24th. Okay, but this is not logical. As I have said, it should be started after the river fabrication. So mandatory start and mandatory finish will not respect your relationship. Okay, start on or finish on, it will respect your relationship, but it will show negative float as it is hard constant, and the date is being impacted by the predecessor. But for the start on or after, I mean, I am giving flexibility that it should be started either on 18 or after 18. That means there will be no negative float if it will push after. But if I will put here, sorry, start on or it should be start on or after. Start on or after. So I'm going back to again 7 days. Okay, okay. And I'll put here, uh, okay, 8 August. Okay. River fabricate, start on or after. 8 August, and then that means I am giving flexibility to start date. It should be started on this date or after, no problem if it will be after. But if it will be before, and I need, I think, rebar installation. Okay, let's start on or after. Okay, 15 August. Okay, okay, I'm giving flexibility. If I'll put here the 14 instead of 7, see here, there will be no negative float. Okay, there will be no negative float. It is showing only with impacted start date here. You see, ribbon installation is now from 22nd August instead of 15. And then if I will put start on or before, that means I am constraining this date. It should be started either this on this date or before, but it should not be after. If any task will impact this task, and commencement will be impacted after the 15, you will see here the negative float. That means there will be a warning sign here that you have to resolve before finalizing your update. Okay, so these are the constraints that probably you may have to use for some reason. Okay, if you think this is required. Okay, so the reason could be, say for example, for mass concrete, probably you know that the concrete supply will not be before 10th of August. So how you will do? That means the concrete pouring, the mass concrete will not be started uh, before 10th of August. So you can do like the start on or after 10th of August. Okay, that's it. And it will be revised according to the constraint that you have put here. Okay, so this is one reason. And then the second reason, you can put constraint if you think that there is a delivery required for this rebar installation, and you know that the rebar cannot be delivered at site before 20th of August, then you can put here start 20th of August cannot be delivered, so you cannot install. And even it is not related to installation, it is related to fabrication. You cannot start fabricating your rebar before that date, that is 20 of August. So it will be 20 of August instead of 8. And then you have to schedule like this. Same for the other constraint. If you feel that there are some constraint related to the task, you have to put here, and then you have to update your schedule. And for milestone, probably for internal milestone, you may put some constraint here. If you will put, you see here, the full foundation is on the critical path. Okay, but masonry work, all masonry work is not on the critical path. Even no masonry work is on the critical path. But as soon as you will put the date, that is here showing here 9th of March. Okay, now if you will bind it, that it should be started on or before, I mean it should be finished on or before this date, 6th of, why it is showing 6th of March? Masonry, okay, this is early date. It should be 6th of March, okay, instead of, okay. If I'll put here that, okay, this milestone should be finished by 6th of March, and similar to the contractual milestone, if I'll put here the limitation that it should not impact that date, you will see here it will be on the critical path, the masonry work. You see here, the machinery work that is driving that milestone is on the critical path. Okay, but this is not the true critical path, right? Okay, okay, I think we have covered everything. So critical path versus longest path, we have explained this is because of the constraint that we have put here. That's why the true critical path is not showing with this constraint date that is set for the contractual milestone. True critical path is only the I-15. If any of the tasks from this area, I mean from the critical path, will be delayed, it will impact the project completion. But it will not be the case for other areas as well. The one day delay to other area will not impact to the overall project completion. Okay.